by Makindye Sabagabo Municipal Council, having gone through the protocols and procedures. So, Chief Guest, I want to confirm that this project is ready to take off. The last activity for which the groundbreaking is happening today, which is the critical assignment, is the construction, installation, and furnishing. Now, this project moves, it's a turnkey, as you notice, all the way from land to design to construction, but there will be installations that are necessary and critical for the Electoral Commission to operate, whether it is ICT or any other, but also furnishing. In other words, furniture and all other necessary critical facilities are part of this project. So this is the critical phase we are starting today, and I want to report that the new state-of-the-art facilities at Ruova, today we are witnessing groundbreaking for the initial works to facilitate nominations for the presidential candidates towards the end of September. Honorable Matia Kasaija, who is equally critical in this process, the honorable members of Parliament, the chairman of the Electoral Commission and members of the Commission, the chairman and board members of National Housing. At this point, allow me to request the chairman of the board, Honorable Sylvester Wanjusi Wasieba, to rise for recognition. The political and technical leadership of Makindye Sabagabo Municipality, I want to request the town clerk, who has been critical in supporting this process, to stand up for recognition. The chairperson of the LC1, Rueza B. Ruboa, has just been here. I want to thank you and recognize you. I also want to take recognition of the representatives from all political parties in Uganda present with us today. Allow me also to recognize the secretary, management, and staff of the Electoral Commission. Allow me to ask the secretary, Babo, to stand for recognition. He's been very critical in this process. Chief guest and our audience, allow me at this point ask our team at National Housing, the team that I lead, led by my deputy Derek, and all staff, wherever you are, I want to ask you to stand up for recognition. And it is also for purposes of accountability that when you meet them, because we are committing to make sure this project will run as up. It's okay, yeah. Allow me to recognize our construction partners in this project. Messrs. China Construction Company Limited, who are with us. The representatives who are here, please rise. Customized and fit for purpose Electoral Commission Center, headquarters at Luboa. These particular phrases are well coined in His Excellency the President's letter, and therefore this project has got to be state of the art, and all of us must demonstrate how state of the art it is. It must be customized and fit for purpose. In other words, the functions of the Electoral Commission, the design and construction must be aligned to the functions of the Commission. The second aspect we are witnessing this morning is the unveiling of this particular location, this particular site at Reza, as the new and permanent location, or rather home or headquarter for the Electoral Commission. But the last one is a simple duty to report on the status of the progress to date. Chief guests, allow me therefore briefly highlight how far we have moved since we received His Excellency the President directive. I want to report that on July 17th, 2022, His Excellency the President directed the National Housing and Construction Company Limited, which is the business arm of government in construction and real estate, undertakes relocation of the Electoral Commission. Since that time, the following deliverables have been achieved, and these were provided for in the directive. One was that National Housing would have to make available the office premises and warehousing facilities on 7th Street as temporary offices for the Electoral Commission. Chief Guest, allow me to report that this was undertaken in the year 2022, and the rental agreement was executed between National Housing and the EC effective January 2023. Accordingly, EC entered the premises on January 1st, 2023, and we think we scored on that front. The second requirement was customization of the temporary office premises on the same 7th Street industrial area, complete with installation of the printing facilities. 7th Street industrial area used to be our headquarter offices as National Housing. We then moved to Crescent Towers, which is also our property. And because our entire staff were about 100, and the Electoral Commission were well over 500, excluding the countryside staff, it required customization, refurbishment, and making sure that they can be well accommodated. I'm happy to report that that customization was achieved before the Electoral Commission moved in. Thirdly, was the physical relocation of the EC from Ginger Road to the 7th Street industrial area. You can have a house finished, but you have a process of moving being turbulent and being difficult. I want to report, Chief Guest, that this relocation was achieved on rental terms until the new offices will be completed at this particular location, Ruboa. Electoral Commission commenced operations on the 1st of January 2023, as earlier on highlighted. The fourth requirement from National Housing was provision of 10 acres of land at Reza Ruboa for the customized permanent EC home. Chief Guest, allow me to report that the land has been provided by National Housing, and to your guests, if you look at the land where we're seated and you look at the perimeter wall that is running, that goes all the way up to the church and comes down along the road, is land that is 10 acres, upon which we've designed the state-of-the-art, customized, fit for purpose EC Center headquarters for their services. I think it deserves, to appreciate, because in this country, finding an appropriate location, suitable location, and encumbered normally becomes a nightmare in public infrastructure development. So we are happy that we are able to achieve this, Chief Guest. I also want to confirm that the titles for this land are available, and the Commission has inspected these titles. I want to report for purposes of record, because we are all government functionaries, and sometimes you get a query, has the transfer happened? So if the transfer hasn't happened, but the land is available, so the construction can't start, this kind of rhetoric. Chief Guest, as the leader of government business, we want to report that the transfer of this land will indeed happen as guided by your office upon receiving full compensation of the land, because that's when the instruments you can sign a title transfer into the names of the EC. Despite non-compensation and land transfer, however, in the spirit of patriotism to ensure successful realization of the statutory electoral roadmap, which you cannot change, National Housing Board granted commencement, in other words, approved commencement or start of the construction of the works on a mutual understanding of the existing government-to-government framework. Because National Housing is owned by government, EC is an establishment of government. In principle, the land is government land, so there shouldn't be any trouble when construction is happening, pending transfer of ownership by the respective authorities. And after all, we have confirmation from the Minister of Finance on when this will be achieved. The other success that we have had since we received that directive, Chief Guest, was the design and documentation of the same state-of-the-art, customized and fit-for-purpose EC headquarters. As I close my remarks, I will ask our technical teams to run on our slides so that you'll be able to see. If I had sufficient time, I would walk you through how it operates from storage, printing, the resource center that they have, the election facility and nominations galleries, now the administrative function where they do administrative work, accommodation, and all other facilities, including ample space that is necessary for pitching tents and doing many other events. Chief guest, I want to report that this activity, the designs have been completed through a consultative process with the Electoral Commission as the client, Ministry of Works, Transport and Communication, the National Environment Management Authority, the local authorities, as I've already highlighted, the Development Committee of Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and other stakeholders. However, looking at the expectation of the President, reviews and updates of the designs are continuous to ensure effective customization for functionality. Allow me highlight that we are here to do the groundbreaking on the project that has been authorized or approved. Let me highlight the following approvals that are with us, Chief Guest. The Environmental and Social Impact Assessment Certificate.
By the President of the Republic of Uganda, this foundation is stone for the Electoral Commission headquarters here.
Kaffe bye tukozesa mu kulonda. Olunaku lwaleero kyengamba lukulu nnyo mu byafaayo by'akakiiko ne mu ggwanga lyaffe. Kubanga tutongozezza program ey'okuzimba amaka gaffe era baagalaze mu lutimbe maka malungi nnyo. Mukama n'atuyamba ne gaggwa. Twagala kwebaza gavumenti eyeewaddeyo tufunira ssente zinatusobozesa okuzimba. Ate nekyanjala kutegeeza bannayuganda okuluubirwa kwaffe, pulaani yaffe nti ennaku 23, 24 mwezi gw'omwenda nga tusunsulamu abagenda kwesimba mu kifo kya president, omukolo kugenda kubeera wano. National Housing yeewaddeyo egenda kukola kyonna ekisoboka. Tebagenda kumaliza okuzimba ebizimbe byonna nga babibalaze, naye waaki bajja kuteekawo kwegamba infrastructure enatusobozesa okuteekawo omukolo gwa nominations gwa presidential candidates ng'ennaku 23 na 24. Byonna nga bitambudde bulungi. Tusuubira nti na tali center ya presidential results ejja kubeera wano omwezi gwa January we tuyimiridde wano. Naye ndeke tusaba Mukama nga tukwatirako nti byonna bitambule bulungi. Akakiiko k'ebyokulonda naffe tubeerenge akakiiko buli omu kiyeenyumirizaamu tulina ekifo kyaffe amaka gaffe, kubanga kati we tuli ku Industrial Area 7th Street n'ekyo kifo kya National Housing tuli bapangise, tupangisa bupangisa kati nga tusasula National Housing. Twagala okwebaza National Housing kubanga ettaka lino tuyimiridde tetunaba wadde 10 ku ttaka lino, naye okuba nti beewaddeyo okulaba nti program z'okulonda zitambula ate zitambulira mu budde, ne bagamba tuffe katutandike kukola omulimu kasita kakiiko ebyokulonda kakiiko ka gavumenti ya Uganda k'abantu ba Uganda na Minister of Finance yeewaddeyo otuwa ssente bonna bazifunye bagenda tusasula ffe nga bwe tukola omulimu. Ekyo tekitera okulabika bannaanyi. Nakyo twagala kwebaza gavumenti, twagala kwebaza National Housing, Executive Director of National Housing ne tiimu ye, Chairman wa Board of Directors of National Housing n'abakozi bonna ba National Housing n'abakiiko k'ebyokulonda nti mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. Tuli ku milestone nene nnyo, tuli ku lukara milestone kyekimulugana ku nteekateeka endungamu ate tabeerangawo mu ggwanga lyaffe. Olaba wano akapeewo kakuyitamu yonna n'owulira ng'odda buto. Bannange tusabire omulimu guno gutambule bulungi, akakiiko kaffe kasobole kuba tukenyumirizaamu nga bannayuganda. Projekiti eno mu lubereberye President Kawe yalagira yali agambye nti National Housing erina okumaliriza okuzimba ekifo kino mu myezi 29 y'emyaka ng'ebiri. Naye kijja kusinziira ku ssente okubeerawo. Naye bwe twogerera kati mu mwaka gw'ensimbi buli oguwedde, Minister of Finance yasobola okutufunira obuwumbi 26 kati bwe tulina era tugenda bukwasa National Housing basobole okutandika omulimu guno. Obuwumbi 26 obwabadde mu mwaka gw'ensimbi oguwedde kati bwe buliwo era bugenda kutambuza omulimu ogwo. Mu ndowooza yaffe mu kuluubira kwaffe ebyetwetaaga okukozesa nga tundominating aba presidential candidates bijja kuba bwe biri nga tukozesa ssente ezo.
So wona
project yonna eyinza okutwala ssente ezisukka mu buwumbi 15,000. Kubanga bwe mulabye wagenda kubeerawo ebintu bingi. Offices z'omulembe, tubeereko na warehouses oba stores, tubeereko n'ekifo otusobola ku training abantu baffe. Ate olusi naddala bwe tubeera mu biseera bya okulonda nga tutalinga results, kiitaaga bakakiiko babeere ku site tetuvaawo. Kubanga results tuba tuzirangirira mu buli ssaawa 6, buli ssaawa mu ssaawa 4 oba 3, olusi tugenda ssaawa 9 nga tutegeeza bannayuganda results zetwakafuna mu kulonda ku president katuyimiriddewo bwe tutuyimiridde bwe. Nolwekyo mugenda kubeeramu ebintu bingi pulaani nga bwe bagera balaze ku lutambi. Nalwekyo essente zetusuubira okukozesa omulimu guno ziri wakati w'obuwumbi 15,000 n'ebikumi 200.